Oh, I got a crazy story about that song.
I killed a man for that
Yeah,
song.
that song's actually about me taking someone's life, so.
Today, I was lucky enough to interview It's Austin Green and Nick Is Not Green about their band Denton. I hope you enjoy, and it's going to be going between both interviews since one interview with Austin was on another day than the one with Nick. But yeah, enjoy.
Reed and I decided to jump on a call and talk about Denton, the music group, band, I don't know, brother duo. I'll give an overview for people that have never heard any Denton songs. Sending stuff back and forth to work on, and eventually we decided to put out a 7-song album. And so we put that out in February 2019. Then Nick worked on a ton of songs and wanted to release another project. And so I didn't really produce anything on Sucker or mix very much on it because he wanted to mix stuff since he was doing it for his degree and things like that. And usually I mixed everything on this project and did some production stuff. So this is a lot of pretty much just Nick's work, which is pretty cool because a lot of the stuff I like. Then just after that, we haven't really put out a full project since then, I guess, but have just been releasing random songs here and there. The process is usually Nick finishes a demo of a song, which is just a project he makes in an hour or two, just working on something, and then sends it over to me, and then I mess with it a bunch, and then I send it back over to him, and he redoes a lot of the vocals and stuff, and then he sends it back to me, and I finish it out from there, I guess. But that's usually the process, and we haven't really made anything in the same room ever, I guess. We've made stuff, not stuff we've posted though. But yeah, some other singles. Weekly was the first song I guess he posted after starting YouTube and stuff, so that's sort of, since that's on his main channel, I think it drove a lot of people towards Denton music. And then we released this 3-song EP at some point in 2021. Both this and Weekly are very minimal, and we know we can do a lot better, but we like how it's probably the best we could do out of all of the old sound. And now past this, it's now we're moving on from that. Yeah, it was all just us kind of working out in the open for the past, I guess, since 2018, which is crazy because I knew it would take a long time to get okay at making music, but I don't know, you never want to wait for that to come, but eventually it just does, because it's fun to sit down and make a lot of music just for the heck of it and not release any of it. But that's the rundown of Denton. And at a certain point we I don't even know what point, maybe after or when The Way I Feel came out or something like that, we started making it more Nick is the frontman of it and stuff like that, and pushing that more. But yeah, now we can get into whatever you want to know and whatever I don't think of.
Did you think when it all began that Denton would do well?
I don't really know, honestly. I guess we kind of were just making demos that we didn't even mean to put out right away because we were only putting stuff on SoundCloud.
I don't know, because I never really thought any of it would be I don't know, we've never had expectations that any of it would ever get any listens, really, even now.
So I don't even know from the beginning what the vision was. I was doing music with my friend at school, and Austin and I started working on stuff. But I think it was more of a slower transition into what it is now, which is still growing. I feel like we still haven't fully hit the point where we know our sound, but we're getting very close.
What was the big inspiration when it all began to begin making music?
So when I was 9, I started playing guitar because we went over to a family friend's house, and upstairs in his room he was just playing his guitar, electric guitar, and I was like, wow, that's sick, I want to do that. So I got a guitar when I was 9 and started playing it a ton. Nick and then Dylan, our youngest brother, who's 2 years younger than Nick, Dylan bought a drum set and Nick bought a bass. Nick had a habit of always quitting instruments, and so he would start trombone in band, and then he quit trombone, and then he'd start bass and then quit bass. Nick took piano for a while and took vocal lessons. Yeah, he stuck with piano and ended up ditching the bass and learning how to play Dylan's drums. and stuff like that. And Dylan didn't learn any of the instruments. He learned some piano and stuff, but he doesn't really play. So in high school, we both like joined bands basically and started playing more with people outside of like the church thing, because Nick started playing drums in church and stuff at a certain point a little bit. From there, it sort of led to like Nick joined he didn't really join a band, he just started a band with his best friend. They did like a duo second grade, which I can show you. But yeah, so we had like a variety show in our high school. This was like, we used to have like a variety show sort of thing at our high school every year. And so when did I play in it? I think I did it just junior and senior year. I think Nick did it sophomore, junior, senior year. But this one year, they played their song that Nick wrote, and Nick's on the piano singing, and then his friend Gabe is on drums. And so Nick and Gabe started doing this, and they used like music production software so that they could basically record like bass lines and other instruments that they could play along with. And so they had sort of like a headphone system so that they could have like a metronome playing so that they could like play along with it and everything. And they had all their tracks like set up. So that was like sort of what inspired us to get into like actually recording music and things like that. Look, it's my dad's
really cool
YouTube channel.
Oh.
It's just on my dad's channel where he just has videos of us playing stuff. He did a solo singing piano performance of like a Colony House song in 2017. This only has 238 views. He's not that good of a piano player either. Like I think I'm better at piano than he is. And I don't think I could ever do that. So Nick was doing his band in that in the same show that I was like I was playing. Like, I don't even want to show this because I was wearing like a tank top in this one. But I was jacked. Really, like, kind of daunting for Nick to do like a solo thing or something like up there, because it was still like a 800 person auditorium, and we did 3 shows. Yeah, for a variety show. So it was a blast. God, my dad has way too many videos. This is us just practicing in the basement. I'm still in a tank top. Why?
So I saw a comment on a video from your old band, second grade, and it mentioned finding that song from 4chan, and it kind of got me thinking.
Wait, what? I never saw this comment.
What were some of the places, this is also for Austin, you guys shared your music, and would you recommend using those places to share your music?
My like advice when it comes to content promotion anywhere now is that a lot of it, but everything besides TikTok is getting pretty obsolete when it comes to promoting stuff. What we used to do was like the amount of time.
The funniest stuff. I told him a bit about it.
Yeah, there would be these like shitty websites that would have like you could submit your song to like a bunch of different people who own playlists. Yeah. And you never get on the playlist. It's like a big waste of time. You could like do a certain amount of free submissions for songs. I mean, we'd go on like these random like websites where people would be like, oh, if you want to play, us to play your song on like our school radio, just like submit your song. Or we put it in like a subreddit where that's for like people to submit their music, and it would never get any upvotes. I mean, it was just like trying to promote music when we weren't really sure what we were doing, and before a platform like TikTok existed, where the majority of people posting are people who don't have platforms, which is why it's a great vessel for like promoting content. And that goes for like YouTube, music, really anything you do. Is my biggest recommendation is use TikTok, and don't be afraid to just spam it with the same exact video over and over again. There's someone in Rap Trading in chat got 50,000 followers on TikTok off of posting the same exact video every single day, but it reached so many different people that, and it's like the follower count really only gets you so far on TikTok, as most people know, but it just goes to show that like, especially when you have an account or a platform that doesn't have a huge following and there's no expectation for content. Like I don't think I could go on my account if I posted the same video every day, people would be like, stop doing that. But if I had an account with 0 followers, or something that I just started, like if I were to go back to when I didn't have much on TikTok, if there's no expectation, it's like, it's free to post. Keep posting. It could always just once one video pops up, delete the rest and start posting a new video until that one pops off, Back then, we probably put a lot of hours into trying to get our music heard by people that like was not worth the time. And I think, yeah, like music promotion has gotten a little bit easier because of TikTok, but it also has made really everything else like a very I
Not
just
worth it.
personally, I don't have like a path that I think is worth putting your time into when you could just continually make more things to reach the algorithm on the platform that everyone in the world is on.
Yeah, music is hard. It's
Okay.
it's insanely hard if you're not like social media savvy,
Mhm.
especially if you just like look at somebody like Dev Lemons, who is just like knows how to
Yeah.
actually like navigate doing music in a social media age where you like complement it with a lot of content and stuff. It's so different. And what we were doing was like so not really making like educated decisions about stuff and just like trying to put it everywhere, hoping that it would get
Yeah.
one stream here and there, and we were maybe getting like a few hundred streams per song and stuff, which like wasn't really a problem, like I was saying on Saturday and stuff, because I don't know, we just really liked
Enjoyed
making
it.
music, and we were making it like on
Yeah.
our iPad on road trips, like just to make it in GarageBand and like plug it into the TV to hear like what we made or something, and it would always sound bad, but like it was just fun to make stuff. So
Yeah.
so I think I wouldn't recommend doing the same thing unless you also like making like for fun songs on the side and putting them on TikTok too and stuff. But just doing like straight promotion of like serious music and whatever is, I don't know, it's kind of dead. You have to have like
Yeah.
a channel or TikTok account or something going at the same time, which is lucky for me that Nick's doing it. So we have
Yeah,
that.
I don't know if we would be in the same spot.
Yeah, nobody's listening to our music for the most part. Like they didn't get there because of the music first.
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
lot of the cases, but they
That's a
end
good
up
sound bit.
liking the music.
It's like, hey,
Nobody's
let me
there
interview
for
this
the
band to
music.
see how I could be inspired. Yeah, no one actually listens to us because they like our music.
Yeah, they like it. You guys like it, but
Yeah, you mean
but
from a
obviously,
standpoint,
yeah,
of
you
course.
it didn't get eyes on it until there's other
Yeah.
places pointing to it.
I just talked to my parents about this because they were over and I was interested to see this, and so I'll tell you I'll tell you a peek behind the music curtain, is that for us, I just checked this for the first time because I haven't checked it in over a year. For about 1 million streams in the past, in our lifetime of Denton on DistroKid, Spotify, and every other streaming platform, from just streaming revenue, 1 million streams for us, which is what we've had over our lifetime, was worth $3,500. So if that gives you an idea of like how much
That's
musicians
ridiculous.
make, which is basically less than almost less than a living salary for making that for 1 month. And that has been since mostly in the past year, but
2019.
yeah, making and promoting music is not only extremely difficult, and we're in a very privileged position, but also it is so unfeasible as a profession right now
Yeah.
that it requires so much more than streaming. You're not expected just to be a musician anymore. You're expected to sell merch and book shows, and that's how you're gonna make your money.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick.
Fun fact to everyone watching the stream: I feel like I look dead while I listen to while Austin's talking. It's not the case. I'm just listening. I'm taking in all the information. So I feel like I'm just like this. And that's not the most entertaining thing. I don't want to be like Jimmy Fallon. I'm gonna skip these for now. I'm gonna go down to one of the lyric questions.
Nice.
So
The lyrics.
yeah, so I'm
Okay.
kind of nervous to ask you because I feel like you're in a different place back in 2019 than you are now.
Where was I
Um,
in 29? It depends. Yeah, I guess it depends on the song, but shoot
so
away, go for it.
lyrics like I'm feeling detached from myself and off the wall slash bummer make me feel like this was an outlet of sorts, like writing the lyrics was like it.
Mm,
Yeah. Was it or is it still? If so, do you remember any songs being difficult to write?
a lot of the original music I wrote was because I had a really traumatic first breakup, you know? You lose Reed, one of these days, you'll have your first one of these days you'll find a nice girl and you'll think, this is everything, this is blah 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 and just remember, you got to date, you got to meet a lot of people and learn a lot about life. But there is something very this is what I love about to talk about other music about Olivia Rodrigo's first album is that it takes something from this massive pop artist and it has her talking about something that is that is as simple and as inconsequential as like basically a high school breakup, and I like how much and how big that project is while talking about something that is so like that so many people experience and that seems so like from the outside you're like, okay, who cares, but as the person experiencing it, that is
Yeah.
everything, like to her or to anyone else who is going through something like that. It is like it's your whole life. And so I think looking back on stuff like that with less of a view of like, oh, this was a silly thing I was upset about, and more like, oh, this is I guess that's to say like my relationship with the oldest music I've made has kind of slowly evolved from me kind of resenting it and not liking it because I know I can do better, and has kind of changed to me looking at it as a way for me to look back and say, this is how far I've come, and this gives me like a window into how I felt emotionally and mentally in that time in my life, which was like a low part of my life. The whole thing with Off the Wall was that song came from this job I had as a building monitor. I was like the security guard but I was just a student who sat in a room and did his homework because there was no one like attending the building. So I'd be in this building for like 7 hours every day and work on stuff at school, for my job, and then at home at like 1 a.m. I would walk home, and as I would walk home, I would listen to all of the demos I was working on, and that's where a lot of the songs from Bummer came from, was me just working on them in my dorm, and then going to and from work and just listening to them and seeing how I can change it and how I can evolve it into something that I'm more proud of, especially because we were doing the first project and first like full length project we've ever done. Um, and so I think like a lot of those things all coming in at once, like trying to do music for the first time and learn how to attach myself to music, is really interesting. And it's something I'm still learning now. Like when it comes to lyrics, like what you were talking about specifically, like it depends on the song, but a lot of those lyrics are so generalized and so like the first thing that came to my head, because a lot of those songs, like if you listen to the first demo of them, they're very similar to the final version of them. There's a couple like Lost in It that's like very different from the first version because Austin sent it to me and I sent him a version and he was like, that fucking sucks. Now he was like, I like the chorus, but he was like, what, like the
Yeah, I
verses
think
I
you
feel like
messed
could
them
be
up.
different.
I
Yeah.
mentioned that
Um,
Saturday too. But
and
no.
I sent him and so like I completely redid the verses and it ended up being one of our favorite songs we did on that album. Sorry, I do this. Whenever people ask me questions, I just like go on a little whatever. So this has
No,
nothing to
it's
do with the
fine.
original lyric. But all of that to say, mostly I say that because the original lyric barely really means anything. It's just like I think it's just the idea of me feeling like I was at a school that I didn't like, without a lot of people in my life doing a job that was just like nothingness, and everything was just sort of like everything in my life at that time in my life was just me trying to like figure out how to do music and make it work. And I don't know. How do I end this question?
I don't know.
Is
Yeah, if I
is
were to
is
say,
writing lyrics still an outlet for you?
I don't know. It depends. Like it's
Just
something I
depends on the
can.
song.
Yeah, it's like something that like when I'm in the right mood, I want to sit down and I want to do it, but I don't when I write lyrics, it's almost solely after I've put down some sort of instrumental or after someone sent me something. And I'm not really the type of person to like have a little notebook and write down stuff and just like sit at a piano. Um, but I don't know, it's kind of changed over the years, like my approach to doing it.
What was it like creating weekly slash we can figure out the details later? Because Nick was, getting pretty big at that point.
that's a good question actually, because we used to like when Nick was trying to get big first, he was doing a lot of making songs on like TikTok and stuff like that. So there was always like at that point, which there isn't now at all, because now I'm like pretty confident in all of my ability to mix something and I like know the steps and everything. But back then it was always like I was just sitting there like in some weird sort of feeling that whatever I was working on was about to like get listened to by like 30,000 people, which was like a lot at the time. And so there was always just like some weird feeling of like whatever this stupid like level that I'm putting this knob at could affect whether or not like this gets listened to by like 100,000 people or like
Okay.
nobody.
The EP after that was kind of the first time we were making music to an audience that we knew was going to listen. Because Weekly especially was written way before. I mean, it was like a long time before that song came out versus when I first did that demo.
The idea that people are gonna listen to something that just like came off of this computer that I like built is weird. Yeah, I think with Weekly and we can figure out the details later, it's just like the real stress for me is like uploading it and then listening back to it and hearing like any little thing that I'd want to change.
And so the EP, we can figure out the detail. What is that? What it's called? We can figure.
Yeah, details.
Yeah.
Nice one, Nick.
Long ass name, bro. Who came up with that? It might have been Austin. But
Yeah, we were like we were trying to come up with a name, and
that was
Nick
like a
had,
phrase.
yeah, you had like some ideas that were phrases and stuff. I forgot what
Yeah.
album we were trying. Maybe some Arctic Monkeys album or something like that. But
Yeah, I forgot. But
I don't know. Then we just came up with that. It sounded good enough. So
yeah, it's good enough.
the favorite song, Roman Candles says my favorite song of yours is Zombie Pig.
That's the
favorite
best
song.
of mine too.
Honestly, I don't know if it's a Denton song.
Yeah, maybe it'll get into the lore. We can just upload that MP3 to Spotify. Yeah, this is like when some musician tries to do like an in-depth interview and everyone's like, talk about this song. You got to talk about this song. And it's like, guys, I don't want to talk about that song. I'm always talking about Zombie Pig. That's all anyone knows me for.
You just want me to play Zombie Pig.
13,000 views on YouTube. But yeah, that EP, I stopped working on music for a bit before and after that because I'm still in like a weird place with feeling about like the way I feel about my production, and then just like trying to put out music that I feel like is good enough, because it's like a weird thing to gauge with an audience, because you're like, okay, now you have the insecurity of like, is my music only getting views because people watch me, or is it because the music's good? And so that's like the thing you have to battle with yourself, is like you have to learn how to like enjoy and be able to analyze your own music without relying on like an audience.
The chorus of Friday
Yeah.
is a sample of a Queen song.
I just don't care and just complain when you're not there. I just don't care when you're not there.
That they never flagged us on.
What would you now want to tell your past self when Denton started?
One big thing, just like I would give to anybody as advice, is never hang yourself up on one project or never get hung up on one project or whatever your one thing you're working on, or one video or one song, because think about like what you will be making in like 2 years from now. It's going to be so much better just like than whatever you're working on now. So just focus on like getting past that one thing and getting to the next thing and making that next thing better, rather than sticking on the first thing and just trying to make that as good as you can.
What's your favorite part about making music? The process of it, the thought of it helping others?
My favorite part of making music is the time in between having the first demo and releasing the song, where you can listen, you like listen through it a million times, and you play it in the car and you play it for people, and just watching that song like grow into something and finally like putting it out is definitely that like time watching it grow I like more than anything else, I think.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best things, is just like listening back to it. And I have like every project I work on just in my drives, just sort of like dated from whatever day I worked on it, and sort of, so just listening back to whatever you did that day and what you felt like and what you were listening to and how that reflected in the music you were making is one of like the best parts of it. I kind of just make music for me just so I can listen back to it later.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun just to do that. But the other half of it is just being able to sit down and turn your brain off for like an hour or two, and then at the end you kind of regain consciousness and like hear whatever the heck you just made on your computer, and you're like, how did I make that? But it was just like adding all these little layers for like 2 hours.
So, what are you? I saw someone say this in chat, and also Shanasa came to my stream last night. Also,
Nice.
told me to add this, so thank you, Shanasa, and person in chat, for this. So, what are your long-term goals, like going on tour or concerts or?
It really kind of depends on Nick at this point, I guess, because he's sort of the one that writes the songs and also the one that like has the actual power to decide if he's gonna do a tour and stuff like that, because he has the audience and the draw and stuff.
I think the dream is like having like a full ass band of like really great musicians who can kind of like take music we've been working on for a long time and like arrange it into something that can be performed live. And I think that would be like really, really fun.
I don't know. We'll have to like really build up Denton a ton first before it's even like viable to do concerts and things like that. When did you stop thinking that you couldn't sing? Was there a point where you became confident in your singing? Because
No,
you still
no, I'm not there.
You sang on stage at variety show in high school, and so you still had to be a level of confident. Plus, you had vocal lessons before that.
Okay, this is my relationship with singing, is that in high school I had a lot more confidence performing in front of people, and it still makes me feel weird. I did vocal lessons in high school, and I like performed in front of a lot of people, but I don't know if it was over the years I like developed this. I think it was once I started to learn how to produce more and how to change my voice when it came to production and mixing, and make it sound better, is when I realized like all the little imperfections when I was able to see. So like when I go into Logic and I like look at my chart of like what I'm singing and what notes they're on, like I'm able to see physically and like see an actual visual for like how far off I am on hitting certain notes. And that's like a scary thing for me, because it helps and just like hearing stuff back without effects on it. I mean, obviously I've grown to the point like of me making so many videos that like it almost affects me not at all. Like especially if I'm by myself, it affects me like basically not at all, listening and watching myself stream or watch a video of my own or whatever. Um, and music, I think, is less about hearing my own voice and more about the fact that I'm just not at the vocal level. Like I hide myself behind a lot of mixing and production when it in post processing when it comes to my vocals, because I just don't like the way I sound without it. I just can't always I literally just like cannot like correctly hit the notes in the way that trained singers can. So it's like
Yeah.
it's like that's the only thing, like when I think about, even when I think about, like I didn't mention this when I talked about like performing stuff live, like that's still the thing that like hangs over my head, is like if everyone else is on instruments and I literally just have like a microphone, am I gonna have the confidence to sing in front of a bunch of people? Because I still don't have that all the time. I went to LA recently and did my first session with Dev and her producer and with some people, and it went great until it was time for me to get on the microphone and I had headphones on and everyone could only hear my voice. And that's when I learned that I have like horrible anxiety over singing around other people
It's
without,
just your voice
yeah, without hiding behind, not even just post processing, but without like
with a beat.
with a beat, yeah, and
Yeah.
music behind you.
Yeah,
You have
it's
all
way
that stuff
different.
behind you, and you have reverb, and you have like, and you're in a room full of people. That's like that I can see as like a possibility. But when I'm sitting there and it's just me singing, I couldn't even physically get out. I went to LA to do this session. I didn't record a single thing because I couldn't get it out.
And yeah, that was my interview with Nick is Not Green and It's Austin Green about their band Denton. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for watching, and check out their channels and their band down below if you haven't already. And yeah, bye, and also subscribe because this is like a new channel or whatever. Okay, bye.